Have you ever looked around and thought, I should be a lot further ahead by now? Maybe you imagined that by this point, you'll be somewhere else entirely, but instead, you're staring at the gap between where you are and where you thought you'd be, wondering if you're falling behind. If this is you and you're feeling behind in life, like everyone else around you is racing ahead and seems to know what they're doing, then this video is for you. And I want to tell you something. You're not broken, you're not late, and you're not alone. This video is the one I wish someone had made for me years ago, because I felt like this on many occasions. That quiet panic when someone younger hits a milestone you're still chasing. That inner voice that whispers, what's wrong with me? In this video, I want to walk you through 6 ways to help reframe your relationship with time, ambition, and identity. I'll share stories, some personal and some from my clients, that reveal why feeling behind might be the sign you're actually on the right path. And I'll share a mindset shift that has helped thousands of people trade pressure for peace. Number 1, where did this timeline come from? So when we say we're behind what exactly? Most of us are unknowingly following a life script we never wrote. Get good grades, choose a career by 18, be successful by 30, married by 35, own a house, start a family, travel, and then retire. And if you miss one checkpoint or take a detour, it feels like a failure. But let me ask you, who wrote this timeline? Most of us inherited it, passed down through culture, school systems, media, maybe even family expectations. And the irony is that even the people who check all the boxes often still feel empty. They follow the timeline and yet wonder, is this all there is? Just imagine getting to the top of a mountain and realizing it wasn't the one you wanted to climb. You spent years pushing, sprinting towards milestones, chasing titles, and trying to hit deadline after deadline. And when you finally arrive, exhausted and breathless at where you thought you wanted to be, something feels off. It's not pride, it's emptiness. We live in a world that glorifies busyness and speed. And the real question is not how hard you are working, but are you going somewhere that actually matters to you? Because it is far better to be climbing slowly up the right mountain than fast up the wrong mountain. Truth is, you can be ahead by everyone else's standards and still feel completely lost by your own. A friend of mine spent 10 years in law. It was a highly paid job in a prestigious company. And on paper, she appeared to be ahead. But inside, she was suffocating. One day, after yet another late night at the office, she decided to quit. No backup plan, just a gut feel that life was meant to feel more alive than where she was. Fast forward to today, and she now runs a retreat center in Portugal, helping people reconnect with purpose. More importantly, she wakes up every day with peace and feeling joyful. According to the old timeline, she fell off track. But when I spoke to her recently, she said that breakdown was my breakthrough. I just needed to stop racing and start listening. This is why the longest journeys that we humans make are the inches from our heads to our hearts. Not always the easiest of journeys, but the most rewarding and fulfilling. Number 2, the comparison illusion. Let's talk about the thief of joy, comparison. It's never been easier to feel behind because every scroll shows us someone else's highlight reel. Someone just bought a house, got engaged, on their 3rd business, or turned 24 and is already a millionaire. And suddenly, you question every choice you've made. But here's the problem. You're comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's carefully curated highlight reel. No one posts their 3 a.m. doubts. No one shares the 10 times they failed before the big win. And no one tells you how often they still feel like they're making it up as they go along. We're all working on a different chapter of a different book. So you can't compare your chapter 3 to someone else's chapter 23. When it comes to comparison, scientists believe we can only meaningfully compare ourselves to a limited number of people. So if you fill these slots with young millionaires, tech prodigies, full-time content creators who are single with no children, then yes, you'll always feel behind. But you can choose who fills these slots. And you want to choose people who inspire you, not just those who make you feel like giving up. A young musician I worked with who had a brilliant, soulful voice once told me, I'm 29 and still haven't made it. I should probably give up. We dug deeper and discovered that his heroes were the likes of Ed Sheeran, John Mayer, and Billie Eilish. all people who made it young. But here's what he didn't realize. Leonard Cohen released his first album at 33. Toni Morrison published her first novel at 39. Julia Child didn't learn to cook until she was in her late 30s. Your timing is not a failure. It's just different. Comparison is only painful when we forget that we're on different journeys entirely. The race you think you're losing, it's not even yours to run. And this is why so many of us are exhausted. Not because we're physically doing too much, but because we're often running someone else's race. Number 3, the trap of ambition without acceptance. Let me be honest with you. I used to see ambition as a strength. I was competitive, driven, relentlessly forward-thinking. Over time, however, I noticed something subtle and painful. That drive robbed me of joy. I was always chasing and trying to get ahead. But ahead of what? Of who? I wasn't even sure anymore. I just knew I wasn't there yet, wherever there was. And that's when I realized something important. You can't outrun a sense of not being enough. You can only heal it. A conversation with a therapist once hit me hard. I said, I feel like people won't love me unless I'm successful. And she said, you mean you won't love yourself unless you're successful? That really hit me because I suddenly realized that most of my drive wasn't about being admired. It was about finally feeling worthy to myself. And that's when I learned this truth. Feeling behind isn't just about external metrics. It's about a lack of internal permission to be okay as you are. Number 4, everyone has their own version of behind. If you talk to enough people, something quickly becomes clear. Everyone has their own version of I'm not where I should be. Some think they're behind because they don't have a partner. Some because they're not financially stable. Some because their career hasn't taken off. Some because they haven't healed yet. What does that tell you? The whole idea of being behind is made up. If it were real, we'd all be behind the same thing, but we're not. Which means we're using a measuring stick that was never ours to begin with. At a networking event, I once met a talented photographer who had decades of experience working in the entertainment industry. We got into a conversation about purpose and direction. And he said, I'm basically where you're at, still figuring things out. His response took me by surprise. He'd lived twice my life, and yet he still wrestled with the same questions. We're all improvising. No one has it fully figured out. And when you realize that, it's liberating. Number 5, life is not linear. We imagine progress as a staircase, but it's more like a tangled string. Starts, stops, detours, and plateaus. Moments of brilliance followed by long stretches of doubt. Fame and fortune at a young age sounds amazing until you look at what can happen. There are countless stories of musicians, actors, and entertainers who blew up young, struggled immensely, and then burned out early. Now look at someone like Brené Brown, who didn't go viral until her 40s. Now in her 50s, she's at her peak and still rising. Don't let impatience and the fear of embarrassment become the biggest hurdle to your growth. Sometimes it takes 10 years to get that 1 year that will completely change your life. And late bloomers often last longer because they grow roots first. And keep this in mind, progress is rarely visible in real time, but that doesn't mean it isn't happening. So if you're in a season where nothing seems to be clicking, it might just mean you're still in the planting phase. Not everything blooms in spring. Your season might be autumn. Keep going and remember why you started on this journey in the first place. Number 6, what to do when you feel behind. The first thing you can do is to switch from timeline thinking to lifetime thinking. Ask, what does matter when I'm 80? Zoom out, because the moment you're in now is just a chapter, not the whole story. The second is to audit the measuring stick. Whose metrics are you using? Your parents? Social media? The version of you from 10 years ago? If the measuring stick doesn't fit your life, throw it out. The third is to practice daily self-reminders. The truth doesn't stick unless you remind yourself of it. This video, I didn't just make it for you, I made it for me too, because I also forget and need timely reminders like this. The fourth is to celebrate invisible wins. Did you show up today even when it was hard? That's a win. Did you speak kindly to yourself? Huge win. Invisible progress is still progress. The final thing you can do is to redefine making it. What if making it isn't a destination, but a feeling of alignment, of being okay with yourself here and now. Maybe making it is just becoming more you without apology. So let me say this clearly. You are not behind. You are in the process of becoming, and that's far more powerful. The world doesn't need people who have followed every rule. It needs people who are awake, who have come alive and are fully themselves. As Ralph Waldo Emerson said, to be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. Take your time, trust your pace, and don't confuse quiet seasons for wasted ones. Your time is coming. If this resonated, I'd love for you to share this with someone who might be silently struggling too, because we all need reminders like this. And if you're working through self-doubt or wrestling with that inner voice, check out this video where I talk about how to stop playing small. Until next time, keep going. You're not behind. You're exactly where you need to be.